Now what I'm going to add is a prop to our index page using Inertia. So if we look at the Inertia protocol, it says on the data page component that you can give a props property in this data page item, and those props are sent into that page component that you've loaded. So I'm going to first of all rename this so that it is index, and then add a prop called example prop, and then I'm going to render it under the h1. Now I'll reopen that index.html file and add a props property to this data page object. So now I've added that prop and I'll give it a test. So here I can see that prop being loaded in, and if I look on the page I can see that it's been injected there. So you can start to see how the protocol works. This data page object is passed into the page that has been loaded. So that example prop is passed into this index page, and then I can display it there. So now we're going to move server side and start getting our Go project set up. So first thing we want to do is make sure in our terminal that we are in the root of the project, and I'm going to run go mod init, and I'm going to name what our Go package will be. Every bit of Go code has to be in a package, and this is going to basically set up our project. It's kind of like running npm init. So I'm going to call it inertia echo, and then I'm going to add a hello world program. So I'll start by adding a main.go file. This is going to be the main package. Every Go program needs a main package, and now I'm going to implement the main function. So now I have my hello world program. You can see I'm getting a little red squiggly about an error. It's telling me that I haven't installed this package. So I can quick fix that and tell it to go get that package, which is basically the equivalent of running npm install. So now that that's installed, my red squigglies are gone, and I'll walk you through the program. So we start out by creating an instance of our echo program, and then we specify a root. So when we get a get request on the root path of our website, this function is going to run, and all that function is going to do is return a string with the HTTP status of OK, and that string is going to be hello world. We then start our server on port 3000. And now I can give that a test by running go run main.go. And this is going to build and run our main.go program. So here I can see Echo is started up on port 3000, and I'm going to test it. And here I can see I get hello world. So it's working as expected. What I can also do to make things easier for me is add a new makefile target to run this command for me. So I'm going to take what I had before. I'm going to call this one server. So this target is going to be dev server, and then it's going to be that. So I can run this by running make, and my server boots up as it would normally. So what we're going to do next is a very minor refactor. We're going to add functions to set up our roots and our middleware in our Go server-side project. So I'll start by adding the functions configure middleware and configure roots. So what I've done here is defined two functions, configure middleware and configure roots. Both of them take a pointer to the Echo instance. So the Echo instance we created here is going to be passed through to this, and these functions will be able to modify it directly. In the configure root, I've just moved the root for the index page of the server into configure routes, and this is just so we can have some separation and keep our main function clean. The plan is that this configure middleware function will be used to set up our middleware. So the way we're going to add our inertia adapter is for it to hook into the Echo system by creating a middleware function. And if you've not heard of middleware before, it's basically a function that will receive the request and response as the server is processing them, and it can perform various tasks that modify or add stuff to the request or response object. They might do things like authentication, adding specific headers. It's just a way to separate your program. So we're going to hook into that middleware system. So I'll start adding our inertia middleware by creating a Go package for that. In Go, each of the folders in your project is a new package. So I've just created a package called inertia middleware, which I will rename. And now I'm going to define an Echo middleware function. So now I'm going to just explain how this inertia middleware function is going to be set up. So to add middleware to an Echo instance, you use the use function, and the use function takes an Echo middleware function as input. So we've defined this function here called inertia middleware. It's going to have a return type of an Echo middleware function. So here we're returning an Echo middleware function, and a middleware function takes a next parameter that has the type Echo handler function, and then it returns an Echo handler function as its type. So here we take that function, and then we're going to return this Echo handler function here. So if I hover over this type, you can see the handler function type takes a context object and returns an error. So here we're returning that function. This middleware doesn't do anything for now. It just calls the next function in the middleware chain. That's what this next parameter is going to be. And you can see each handler function is just passed the current context that the Echo instance has.